Page 153 of 179, so we're almost done. Let's just kill it. Oh, my voice is gonna be sore after this, so you fuckers better be appreciative. Alright, ready? Okay. Chapter 18. I couldn't miss any more days of school, as Lakewood High had little tolerance for repeat absences. Absences. Is that spelled right? It doesn't look right. I don't know what day it even is, so whatever. Had I not returned to school shortly after, they would invalidate the work I had already done that semester. Really? They can do that? Seems like, I don't know, a harsh punishment. I had pretty much the same classes all year. Washington State History 1 and 2 covered my first and second semesters. What does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with anything? My TA position was extended for the second semester. Why? What has he done to prove that he is a good TA? We don't know. Meanwhile, gym class had yet to see Mr. Mack return as far as I knew, but I hadn't been to school in a few days. So, like, the way that the chapter started when he said, like, I missed all this school, it seems like he missed way more than just a few days, am I right? As I walked into school, it felt like nothing had changed, like no one knew Davis had even existed in the first place. Well, that's a fucking nice thing to say about him. Had they not lost over 40 people the year prior in the shooting? Oh my god. The year prior in the shooting. Over 40 people? On big news stories like that, I would never, if you're in, like, the biggest school shooting in the country, like, you fucking know how many people were killed. Like, it's like he totally forgot how many people were killed in the school shooting and just rounded down, way down. Had they not lost over 40 people in the year prior in the shooting, I would have been angered, but tragedy was becoming the theme of our school and my own life. Okay, so, if Greg was a competent writer and wrote a good book, he would be able to seamlessly parallel the fact that the school is going through tragedies, yet his own life is going through tragedies as well. He'd be able to parallel that without telling you flat out, oh my god, this is the parallel, guys. This is the parallel. But he's a fucking idiot and sucks ass, and yeah. You could say we were all stronger because of it, but strength and numbness are two different things. That's correct. When you can't feel anything because you've been beaten to a point where your senses stop functioning, you don't really have to be strong to endure it. Tell us a fucking story. Tell us a story and stop pontificating on bullshit. Eey. Too many people who remain in a state of numbness. Every new blow, is nearly indistinguishable from the strikes prior. Call it some twisted way to force us into surviving despite the conditions being acceptable in most every way. I'm sorry, Call it some twisted way to force us into surviving despite the conditions being unacceptable in most every way. Greg, is your character having these kinds of emotions and conflicts, or are you just fucking talking to the reader in your usual Greg way when you're fucking in the corner over here rather, and your stupid head is cut out and you're like talking really fast and you do jump cuts every 2 seconds, and I know that is ironic of me to say or really stupid of me to say because back when I started doing videos, my jump cuts were out of control, and I know that. Now they're not so much, so I don't care anymore. I'm out of breath. Okay. When my TA period began, Ms. Robertson paid me a visit. She walked over to me grading papers and asked, "How have you liked working with Mr. Hanson?" "Well, I don't know. I just got back. Hello, how are you? Nice to see you." What the fuck? I replied, saying, "I like it just fine." She looked over to Mr. Hanson and said, "Would you like to tell him now?" Oh, for fuck's sake, what? Now what? Now what? Mr. Hansen smiled and walked to the front of his desk. He leaned against it, but his weight caused it to slide backwards. Really? How flimsy is his fucking desk? Quickly, he stumbled to stand and blurted out, "Yes, absolutely. James, we were thinking of you taking on a special role next year." Why? What? We've only seen James do, like, 2 duties as a TA. We don't know what even that, like, entails in this particular school. He's graded papers, which he can't do because he's grading his peers' papers, and that's not fucking okay to do in high school. And, like, he hasn't done anything else except be there in the class. So why is he all of a sudden being able to take on this special role? Oh, that's right, because it's Greg, and everything Greg has to do is fucking special, because Greg's a special fucking calico cat. I looked at him, lacking any feeling or sign of enthusiasm, but he continued, "We want you to run for school president." Why? And this whole TA business was just about figuring out if you're the right person for the position. That's the most convoluted fucking way to segue into that shit I've ever fucking heard. I sat and stared at them as if they were playing a sick game on me, but they didn't know I had just lost a friend. How did they not know that? They only knew I was willing to tell them. They only knew what I was willing to tell them, which was pretty much nothing. Oh no. You really just messed with my schedule so I could run for a position that you didn't even know if I wanted? Greg, nobody talks like that! Nobody in this wide fucking world talks like that. I asked in a monotone voice. Look at him fucking playing the victim already. Playing the victim. Why? Because the schedule couldn't coincide with Abby's. Ugh. Ms. Robertson replied, "I know we've had our bumps, but judging by Mr. Hansen's positive feedback, you have the strength and sense of integrity we would look for in someone who is running for the school president." Okay. Step aside the fact that we have no indication of James being that person. Like faculty is all of a sudden choosing who is going to be the school principal, and you base that off of a TA position? What? What the fuck? I replied, "So assaulting 4 jocks in front of the school, that was integrity?" Mrs. Robertson's posture completely changed. Show don't tell. She was clearly offended and replied, "You heard what that boy said to me. Obviously, he, ... and his friends, they, ... Okay, if you're using ellipses in dialogue, it means something was missing. I personally would not use ellipses in dialogue. Maybe if you're trailing off, that's okay, but like, to emphasize a pause, I don't think that that's correct. If someone wants to I use dashes or commas or putting like he paused, or maybe just stop writing sentences where the emotion is too strong. I could see that she was about to say something that no guidance counselor could justify saying. How could you see it? Oh, God. How could you see it? Why are you such a fucking soothsayer at this point? Jesus Christ. Mr. Hansen continued, "We believe in your decision-making skills." Oh, I'm sorry. I said that so weirdly. "We believe in your decision-making skills. And unlike other schools, the school president here has actual power." Okay, he's been capitalizing president this whole time. Oh, get it? It's because the president visited, and now James would make a good president. Why again? Why? Is he just matching at this point? Matching and mapping? I don't understand. God bless you, Sadie. I think she sneezed. They have repeatedly in the past become a complete pain to deal with. We think you're different and think you could actually do something good for the entire school instead of just causing a headache for the faculty! Ah! My shirt came up. Hang on. I gotta adjust. Oh my god, my bra's showing. Everybody look away. Why are teachers this candid with this asshole? Fuck me. Oh, alright. Alright, let me find my bearings and try to finish this turd burger. Okay. I replied, "There's no guarantee I'll be successful. You could have put all this faith in me for nothing." Fucking pity party, table of one. Miss Robinson jumped and said loudly. Jumped? Just physically. She jumped and said loudly, "We're not going to let the students have another election where they have only an idiot and moron to choose between." Why? What the fuck? Is this really, like, is the school fucking full of fucking idiots? I'm sorry for swearing so much, but I'm so pissed off. Like, is James really their fucking ideal candidate? There's no, like, what is he gonna be, fucking valedictorian next? And, like, just because the teachers apparently like him? I don't get it. Where are the smart kids? Like, apparently this school is filled with jocks and James and Abby. And Davis. May he rest in peace. Ugh, okay. "You will win because the people who are right for the job rarely want it. James, you're exactly the person who needs to do this." I looked down at my desk silently. Oh god. This is just Greg saying, Greg has taken, like, the police light out and put it on top of his car, and the light is screaming, "I haven't been to high school in a very long time. I have no idea what the fuck goes on there anymore." Like, clearly, this is just something that Greg is pulling right out of his gross pimply ass. Mr. Hanson said, "You're a good kid, one of the best, I think. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true." I'm gonna scratch my walls. Ms. Robinson proceeded to leave the room. Okay, she's just like, "Alright, you're the best. Okay, fuck off." I just felt surprised she was even willing to talk to me after I lectured her about her failures as a guidance counselor. Oh yeah, that's right. He basically reamed the shit out of her, and she's all of a sudden like, "Well, we want you. You're the best one for the job." What is wrong with her? Is she on steroids? Is she on fucking, like, cocaine? Like, heroin? She doesn't remember shit? I don't understand. It felt like hours, but finally my TA class was over, and I headed over to the gym class where I saw someone I didn't quite recognize standing in the middle of the gym. I feel like Greg, like, might have been a TA in high school, but they also kind of just, like, let him... like, he just was like, "Oh, I'm a TA." And the teachers, like, did not want to deal with him. They're just like, "Whatever. You can sit in this class, you weird person." Oh, as I walked closer, I realized it was Mr. Mack, only with a massive scar on the side of his face that led past his hairline. "Mr. Mack," I screamed. He turned to me and smiled. "Hey, kiddo," he said. With a smile on my face, I asked, "I'm so glad you're back. How are you feeling?" Mr. Mack responded, "Well, for a guy who got shot twice, not bad." I just don't understand. Like, I could see if this was, like, a justified character arc where James starts out and he fucking hates everybody and he's like, "Oh, everybody sucks," and then, like, but then, like, maybe it's part maturity, or maybe he does a class that he doesn't like, but they have to do all these community service things, and he ends up, like, being like, "Oh wait, no, this is actually a good thing," and then the arc happens, and then he's like, wait a minute, like, doing good is actually a good thing, and, like, maybe these people aren't such fucking assholes. But we haven't seen any of that. We haven't seen a single thing that James has changed, other than he got Abby as his girlfriend. That's his big fucking arc here. I hate everybody. Hang on, I found somebody that I don't hate. Now everybody likes me. What? Oh, God. Oh, God. That's like how Greg wishes his fucking life went. And that's not how life works. After a moment of thought. Really? I realized this was the first time I had genuinely smiled since Davis died. It was just nice to see the only teacher who really came close to bonding with me alive and well after his hospitalization. I would say that Mr. Hansen and you have bonded pretty well, and now you're fucking throwing him under the bus because you are a selfish asshole. Mr. Mack then reminded me I wasn't dressed for gym yet. I was standing there naked in the middle of the gym, so I ran off to the locker room. As I returned to the main gym, I could see all the students surrounding Mr. Mack. In this moment, I felt a small piece of luck shine on me. You dumbass. It was now clear that despite my tardiness, I managed to come back on the first day Mr. Mack was back. What? How is that? Like, why is that like a revelation? Revelation? Wow, I'm sorry. How is that a revelation that you came back on the same day he did? Like, fucking obviously. Right? Ugh. I mean, I guess, but whatever. Maybe not, but whatever. I just don't understand like this. I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. He had all of us play dodgeball just like the first day I attended his class, but this time Raymond was on my team, and just as before, our team was lucky enough to claim victory. That was a paragraph, and it was all one sentence. So bad at this. And I still have 22 more fucking pages left. There was also a decent amount of time left in class, so Mr. Mack decided to tell us about his experiences in the hospital. He told us how many days he stayed there, how many surgeries he had to have, and he also thanked us for the gifts and visits he received from many of the students. Huh, sounds cute. Glad we really got to know Mr. Mack more for the telling of those stories. As he talked, time flew by much faster than it ever did when we played games. Likely because I had never heard about some of the things he talked about and found it really fascinating. Oh my god. This is like a child wrote this. This is like a child's stream of consciousness, just like going from one thing to the next. Like, well, that makes me feel like this. And I'm glad that makes me feel like this. Oh my god, look! Another cool thing that made me feel happy. I don't like that thing over there. Oh my god, I don't understand why, but I don't like it. Maybe that was just me as a kid. I don't know, but there were things that I liked, and then there were things that scared the shit out of me, but I didn't know why. Like, at the end of The Simpsons, the Gracie Films logo, the guy that shushes, I was so scared of him. I thought I would turn the corner and go up the stairs towards my room, and he would be waiting at the top of the stairs for me going, shh. Oh, fucking weird. I was gonna say something. Oh, well, Abby's here in the next paragraph. I mean, he talks about loving Jim because he gets to see Abby, and he hasn't mentioned her at all, so it's weird. Sitting in the hospital day after day post-school shooting for as long as he did. What? Post-school shooting? After the shooting? You can't really? Post-school shooting? Okay. Mr. Mack no doubt had played out the scenario he endured hundreds of times in his mind. I really hate that, I know I've said this a million times, I really hate that James's character, like decides how everybody's feeling, and well, no doubt they felt like this, but it also in the same way is such a parallel to how Greg lives his life, I would, in my opinion, because he's now, like, when James says, like, I imagine he did this or I did that, or he felt like that, I feel like it's like how Greg lives, because Greg wishes that everybody thought like him. And, or, like, at least he, like, believes that everybody, like, thinks like him. Ew, what's on your nose? It's, like, gross. You got some snot on your nose. Ew, and I just saw my hand. And now it's on my bed. Whatever, these sheets need to be cleaned in a second anyway. Yeah, I just think that that's kind of strange. And, like, you know, I just don't, maybe it's just me, but I don't really care what other people are thinking. Like if they're saying something, I'm not psychoanalyzing, like, oh, they're probably going through this right now, yeah. That must, oh, I bet they're feeling like this, yeah. I don't know, does anybody else do that? I don't do that. And I'm obviously the coolest person ever. Oh, I have the cutest cat ever. I do. She's a nice lady. She's up here, I promise. See? Sadie, look at the camera. Aw. Okay. Oh no. Oh, I guess we were the right audience for him to let all his thoughts out to. I felt lucky. Alright, that's the end of that sentence. Comma, I felt lucky. I guess we were the right audience for him to let all his thoughts out to, comma, I felt lucky. No, you didn't word that properly at all. There's hair in my mouth. As we left gym together, Abby and I were holding hands as we always did. Walking outside to head to the building our classes were in. Holy crap. The building our classes were in. Like, the building! The class building! Fuck. I could see Ms. Robertson stomping towards us with a scowl on her face, accompanied by 2 police officers. Okay. I immediately thought of everything I had done wrong or felt guilty for, and assumed I was finally being punished for the fight I had gotten in with the jocks. Especially since I blatantly admitted what happened in my TA class earlier that day in the presence of Mrs. Robertson. Oh my god! Greg, can you write a sentence without sounding like you're having a series of strokes? Jesus Christ. Also, how fucking selfish are you? Like, oh, they're walking towards me. Well, it's obviously about me. When she just, like, walks right past them. Contrary to my assumption, by looking closer at Ms. Robertson's eyes, I could see now she was focused on Abby. She was staring at Abby so intensely, it almost as if she hadn't noticed I was even there. Okay. A wave of fear overtook me. Nervously, I softly said, wow, Abby, to alert her of the situation. Oh my god, I hate it. Looking over at Abby, I could see she knew something I did not. Ms. Robertson loudly said, Abbigale, I need you to come with us. Poor Kay. Oh, this isn't 20 pages of Kindle. This is like 20 pages of the book left. So, fuck, it's gonna be a while. Ugh, this is a long video. I don't care. I gotta finish it. I have to. I've come this far. I've endured so much. I've lost a fuckload of brain cells. This is getting done. Abby looked at me with terror in her face. One of the officers grabbed her by the arm. I remained frozen. I was in shock and had no idea what to do. As they walked her away, she had her free hand on her face, as if she were guilt-stricken by something. So somebody's being led away by police, going like, and you think it's because they're guilt-stricken, or you think because they're fucking scared and have no idea what's going to happen to them? I was trapped in analytical state again. You're never not in analytical state, you jackass. Having seen the guilty posture she had taken and the look in her eyes, I found myself consumed by the feeling that the person I loved most had betrayed me. How could I so quickly doubt her after all we had been through? Because you're analyzing something that maybe isn't like a legit truth. That's why. Oh my god. Fucking psycho. Like, oh my god. Oh, like somebody's led away by police. I need you to come with me. He's not concerned for his girlfriend who's going away from the police. Who the fuck knows what happened? They didn't tell her. But Greg's first thought, and James's first thought, is, how did she betray me? I just realized these are yoga pants poking out. And they are not very flattering. What is a guilty posture? You're all of a sudden a fucking body language expert? Jesus Christ. Oh, Shady. Shady's foot. Shady's foot. Sadie's tail. Sadie's tail. Sadie's tail. Oh, she's so cute. Little creepy eyeballs. The person I loved most, I mumbled to myself aloud. What a douchebag. I loved her more than anything or anyone. I didn't even care about whatever she had done. Obviously you fucking do. Oh my god. Oh, you hypocritical cockstain. Oh my god. Like, of course you care about what she did. You just said, oh my god, did she betray me? Like, your first fucking thought. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. As it didn't make a difference. She was everything to me. Without a second thought, I chased after them, following them to Miss Robertson's office. The two officers took Abby. How did he know they were going there? Like, that's the thing. Like, he chased after them. Well, I mean, I guess maybe it's like implied that because Miss Robertson's with them, but they could have been taking her to the principal's office. I don't know. I'm just gonna grab Sadie's stupid feet. Sadie's stupid feet. And a fat belly. And a fat belly. She is way too fat. I think I need to get her checked out. Because no matter what, she's just this big tub of lard. This big tub of lard. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Alright, no, I would like my hand back, please. May I have my hand back? She's not even, like, biting more than once. She's just, like... It's weird. Cats are weird people. Okay, let's finish. Oh, no, it's gonna take so long. I have things to do. I have sleep to do. As I approached Mrs. Robertson and her office... Mrs. Robertson and her office. Coming to you live this Friday at 7. She jumped in my face hysterically, saying loudly, "Oh, God! This is what I was talking about. This is why I warned you." Her finger was shaking in my face, but I ignored her clear emotional imbalance and asked, "What exactly is going on?" She replied, seeming somewhat relieved, but strongly condescending. Strongly condescending. That was so Jersey. I did that on purpose, but strongly condescending. "You've been dating her for how long, and you don't know?" I replied, "No." She answered, "I can't tell you." "But if she didn't pull you in on this, well, it just makes me happy that you're also not an accomplice." "Accomplice to what?" I asked, but Miss Robertson took a step back, crossed her arms, and refused to say anything else. What the fuck happened to all this? You're the best candidate for all this shit. And now she's being just a total fucking asshole to him. Why? What is going on? Inside the office, the police already had closed the blinds. All I could hear was them talking in stern, muffled voices as Abby responded softly in a collected tone. Why is he allowed to stay in this scenario? Why aren't they hustling him out? I was happy that whatever was going on, Abby was handling it with a level head. I was happy. I had never known her to lose her temper or act irrationally. But this event created fear and doubt that the person I had fallen for may not have been who... No more of this. I want to take a nap. Let's take a nap. I had to have faith in her. She didn't just deserve my support, she relied on it. We both needed to stand by each other through it all. Like two pillars leaning against only the other. If one of us fell, we would find ourselves both shattered to pieces on the floor. Do that then. I am sick of it. Fucking do it. Make something fun happen. Because right now, it's just like, as he was writing this, he didn't even know what Abby did. So he's just like, instead just not telling anybody. Look at Sadie's face. It's so cute. It's so cute. Like, did Greg even, like, probably not, but did he even, like, make an outline of this book and, like, what direction he wanted it to go in? Probably not. He just wrote down a stream of fear. Of fear. Oh, my God. He just wrote down a stream of thought. I don't know why I said fear. Ugh. After about 30 minutes, one of the officers opened the door to let her out. Abby walked out, not knowing how I would react, and I immediately walked up to her and hugged her. Oh, my God. What a horrible sentence. She whimpered with a sound of relief. Miss Robertson saw this and exploded into a rage, screaming, "You're letting her go?" One of the cops replied, "There is no real proof she did anything." Ms. Robertson yelled, "She is responsible for everyone who died in the shooting." She told her boyfriend to do it. It was all in the letters you found in Seth's home. It was in her hand. Oh my God. I just don't understand why this fucking guidance counselor has it out for Abby, other than it makes James want to protect her all the more. That's it. Ms. Robertson abruptly stopped speaking. Like an irresponsible child, she shouted something she could neither prove nor had the right to say. All she could do now is give up. How did she know that there was shit in the house? Like what the fuck is this vendetta about? One of the officers replied, "Like I said, you're speculating. She didn't use the specific wording needed to. We literally just..." No, Greg. No, Greg. No. Stop using literally like that. The officer paused and rolled his eyes, realizing none of his words were resonating with her. He continued, "Never mind, you just go about your business and leave that girl alone." The two officers immediately began heading out as Miss Robertson turned to us with an enraged look in her eyes. I'm really happy that she fucking wasted the policeman's time. And now she's not being fucking hauled in. I was still trying to cope with what I had just heard. I am too, because nobody fucking knows what the hell you are even talking about, Greg. Abby turned to me looking worried that I was going to react as if I believed everything Ms. Robertson said, but I didn't. Ugh! I couldn't take the side of a woman who was proving herself to be progressively losing her mind, and who also had a clear bias agenda over my beautiful, loving Abby. God! Oh, no. Clearly has a bias. No, I didn't interpret that at all. I just want to know why. Like, you don't have to outright say that there's a bias. There's obviously a fucking bias there. But why? Explain that to your readers. You're not, other than she's pro-life. Which sometimes people are pro-life. Doesn't mean that they want to, like, call the cops on people. I don't know. Oh my God. In a soft, slightly quivering voice, Abby said to me, "I didn't say that, I promised." Oh my god. I replied, promises are for people who can't be trusted on their word alone. I'll always believe you, Abby. What? Like, what the fuck? Oh my god! She grabbed me and hugged me as Miss Robertson yelled, oh, you two are perfect for each other! Oh, she gave her approval. And I muttered in response with a slight smile. Perfectly imperfect. Oh. Oh, I have the strongest desire to pick my phone up and just fucking launch it across the room. I really don't, but for a split second I did. I think this book is fetishizing toxic relationships, truthfully. And it's like, I think Greg in himself fetishizes toxic relationships. Because, I'm just going to speculate again. I don't know him personally. You don't know him personally. But that doesn't stop any of us from speculating. Even his fans who are like, he's a loving person. Like, fuck, you do it too, so shut the fuck up. What him and Shiloh had, like, thank God that she is over it, you know? She looks like she's doing a lot better now, which is great. But he and Shiloh had what I would consider a toxic relationship. It was hot one minute, it was cold the next. It was hot one minute, it was cold the next. You break up, you get back together. You break up, you get back together. You break up, you get back together. Ad nauseum. That's not healthy. That is, like, that's not healthy. That's the definition of unhealthy. But when he was with her, you could see, like a bit of a personality there. Now you see this guy, he's just a fucking shell of a person. There's nothing like, there's no like genuinity. There's nothing genuine there anymore, except when he's talking about himself and how awesome he is, clearly. You don't see him act like that with, what's her butt? Lainey butt. So, I just think Greg has like a penchant for, the imperfect person, but he can save them and they save each other in that respect. Sadie. Newsroom. Oh no! I want her to like bite my hand all the time. It feels kind of good. Can I have it back though? Ow! It's like people like getting tattoos. I like getting cat bites. I like getting cat bites. Nom 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 nom. Newsroom. Oh no. Okay. I'll take my hand back now, please. No. I would like my hand. Oh, you're such a piece of crap. Okay. You're such a butt. Okay. Abby gave out a sad laugh, accompanied by her already falling tears in response. This poor girl cries every 2 seconds. And James, like, is, like, the strong one. And she's, like, this like, weakling little meh girl. We never stopped reminding ourselves how wonderful it was to have each other, and took so much pride in knowing we would always be there for one another. Why don't you let her say that instead of, like, you talking for her? Right? Am I right? Now you're a pile of clothes. Oh, she jumped off the bed with them. I'm sorry. It's nice and warm where you were sitting, though. Oh, she'll be back. I walked Abby to her, next class and headed over to mine immediately after. We were both late, but neither of our teachers seemed to care. Why the fuck would they? Why the fuck wouldn't James's character be late? He's the next student body president. The shooting changed how a lot of teachers treated us, and not just with tardiness. Their wee rules. Ew, I spit so much. They're wee rules they'd regularly ignore that they never did before all the sake for... Hang on. They're wee rules they'd regularly ignore that they never did before, all for the sake of not upsetting us. Okay. It's just a very wonky, stupidly worded sentence. And you put we when you meant to write were. After school, Abby and I met on the bus. A sad vehicle that had become little more than a painful reminder we would never see again. It amazed me how busses in general. Listen, that is actually a legit word. Buses, but it's bussing a table. Not buses as in plural of bus. Buses in general were completely ruined for me, but I didn't have a choice in the matter. And even if I did, in a way the pain just brought me closer to him. I kept wondering when the heartache would end. Maybe it never will. Oh, okay, you kept wondering. Maybe it never will. Just changing tenses, in the middle of your sentences. That's fine. Arriving home, Abby closed the front door and said, "I need to talk to you." Oh my god, that's like M. Night Shyamalan dialogue right there. I walked over to my room, dropped my bag on the floor, and sat on my bed. "I told the police the truth," she said. I replied. "That you are completely innocent?" Oh my god. She responded, "Not exactly, James." I felt the familiar wave of panic overtake me, my heart giving me a horrible sinking feeling. My head lowered, I lost eye contact with her and remained silent. She then said, when I was dating Seth, I was really messed up. You know that." I maintained my silence, listening, hoping she wasn't going to say something that would rip me in half. "When I was depressed and cutting, I told Seth in multiple letters that I wished everyone would just disappear. But that's..." Instantly, like a muscle response, I stood up, turning her remaining words into a silent panic, and I walked into the bathroom, slamming the door behind me. What makes you so fucking high and mighty that she was like, I wish everyone would just disappear? That could be interpreted 500 ways. Just disappear. Poof. Disappear. Earth opens up, swallowed in, disappear. Beam of light from the sun crashes down. Boom, disappear. School goes bankrupt. Boom, disappear. And then James is like, "Oh my god, it's not like I hated everybody in the beginning chapters of this book either and just continue to judge everybody either. I don't do that. Fucking asshole." I began pulling off my clothes alone in the bathroom. Gross, you're gross probably. And turned on the shower. Even the sound of warm water shooting out of the shower head and smacking against the back of the tub couldn't disguise the sound of Abby crying in the other room. Same chapter, and she's crying again. You see what I mean? Toxic relationship. They were just blowjobbing each other so much about how they're always going to be there for each other and how they're perfectly imperfect. And then she says something that he doesn't like once, and what does he do? He puts the door between them. Psychotic! I got into the shower, collapsed on the floor, and lost myself in thought. I bet Greg does that to this day. Loses himself in thought in the shower. Gross. I was overwhelmed by the fact Abby just admitted she told someone who wound up being a school shooter that she wished everyone would disappear. Why did you need that sentence? Why did you need that sentence? You just told us what she said. Oh my god. She didn't tell him to kill anyone, I told myself. She didn't say she actually wanted him to do anything. I thought with my arms wrapped around my knees, with my head resting on my arms. Listen. Abby was let go by the police. Obviously, they didn't think she had anything to do with the school shooting. So what are you getting your fucking dick in a knot about? Oh, God. I thought Man, and the water poured around the side of my face and into my eyes. I looked down to see I hadn't even remembered to remove my boxers. How do you not realize you're not wearing pants? I felt like my life was just another sad tear-drenched sob story, and happiness was the only intermission. Oh, fuck you in that analogy. I then asked myself, who hasn't wished someone wasn't there? Who hasn't wished they were all alone when they feel like everyone around them doesn't understand them? You, James, you. That doesn't mean they want to see people be shot. It doesn't mean they would genuinely want anyone to be subjected to that kind of suffering. True. However, I don't buy this for a second, because Greg wishes all his haters weren't there, and he wants them all to disappear. And if a meat eater had lost their arm, he wouldn't feel sorry for them. So he obviously has some shred of assholism in here, but just because it's a girlfriend saying it, that makes it the worst thing ever. If Greg has those thoughts, it's okay, but somebody else having it? I then reminded myself that we could all make our own happiness. God. I could continue to view sorrow and emptiness as the main theme in my life, but this wasn't the fault of uncontrollable conditions. I had a choice. I was going to choose to stand up, turn off the water, and return to catch the tears of the woman I loved. You know, for all due respect for all of Greg's foibles, there's some times where you do have to psych yourself up, and you do have to get over your whiny bullshit by yourself and choose that kind of stuff. But the kind of shit that he tells people to get over and to just choose happiness is like deep shit that is incredibly difficult to do without a consistent and positive support group. That's why I have trouble believing that he's helped people get over a cutting addiction. Calling somebody a pussy for hurting their body is not helpful. But, if you're someone like me, who can be a whiny baby sometimes and complain a lot, there's times where I have to be like, shut up, Gines. Just shut up. Like, who gives a shit, We all go through that, and that's okay to go through that. But it's not a fix for everything. It's like everybody's different, and everybody's gonna handle shit differently. So you can't be putting everybody into one, you can't cram everybody into one box and say, I found the solution. It's right here in this little vial. Like, and that's what he tries to do, and that's what now he's reflecting in his book, and it's disturbing. Ugh, it's almost 1. I haven't done anything today. I'm hungry again. I already ate, but I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. Opening the bathroom door, still soaking, I could see Abby across the hall, looking up with tears still running down her face. You still could still do that. She was scared. She didn't know why I had come back out. Really? She didn't know why? You weren't perhaps done with your shower? I approached her and lifted her up by the center of her back and back of her leg, just as I had in the middle of her class some time ago. What does that mean? How do you lift somebody up by the center of their back? Is he like putting his finger in her butthole like a fucking like bowling ball? How do you lift somebody up by the center of their back? And under the leg, like just one leg, just yanking your leg all the way up? Like, what's going on? She cried, giving me a scared look. I don't understand, as I pulled her close to me. Wow. She cried, giving me a sad, scared look, quotation, I don't understand, end quote, as I pulled her close to me. Like, was that supposed to be her saying that? I replied, you didn't want anyone to die. You just wanted to be alone so no one could judge you or hurt you anymore. That's not uncommon, and you did nothing wrong. She let out a loud cry of relief and wrapped her arms around me. This is sick. That is just sickening to me. Because here you go. See, I told you she'd be back. Here we go with a girl who has been abused by fucking everybody in her life, right? Okay? So she says one thing to the one person she feels she can confide in right now. She says one thing to him, and he blows up. And he goes and whines away in the shower like a whiny fucking bitch. And then comes out and tells her why he thinks she was justified. He's like mapping what he wants her to be thinking, but says it out loud for her. And then she's relieved. That to me is like planting the seeds of manipulation, planting the seeds of I can make this person do whatever I want and because they really believe that they're in love with me. That's just how I see it. Wow. Was that... I'm sorry. I had, like, makeup all down my face. Look at your little paw. It's so cute. Look at your little paw. It's so cute. I don't care. I'm taking this off as soon as we're done here. I gotta do some proactive. I kissed her on the neck as I held her whole body. She gave out a tearful laugh, saying, "You're all wet." I smiled and laid her on the bed, kissing her as I removed her clothes. Okay, now we're just gonna fuck. She kissed me passionately, smiling whenever our lips were seconds apart. She felt accepted and relieved. I chose happiness. No, you chose being a dipshit. Oh, page 164 of 179. I am 92% of the way done. We're still going. I've been here for a fucking hour. Oh, God. Sadie. Newsroom. Look at her little teeth. Little teethuses. Ooh, so cute. The next school day, chapter 19. The next school day, I walked hand in hand with into school. Oh, you fucker! The next school day, I walked hand in hand with into school. The school. Oh, I read that wrong. I didn't, but I did. Okay, the next school day, I walked hand in hand with into the school building. And immediately saw most every set of eyes in the room turn to us. She stopped walking. Who? You didn't tell us who, because you fucking forgot to say. Realizing right away exactly why she was being looked at. What Ms. Robertson screamed in front of the students in the hall had spread around the day prior like an infectious disease. I'm sorry. That was just, I couldn't read that for a second. So... something that went on between policemen and a guidance counselor, everybody knows now. Like, high school is not Twitter, is it? I don't think so. As we walked only a few yards past security, it became clear someone had planned to humiliate Abby the moment they saw her. Why? Why? Our suspicion became a reality when someone ran up to her, throwing a can of black paint to cover her upper body, just falling short of her face. Abby gasped as the paint collided with her clothes. They went to spit on her, but by then my hand was already impacting the side of their neck, slamming them to the ground. Ow. Everyone began screaming, "Ooh!" a sound I had become sick of hearing every time a slightly stimulating event occurred in their no doubt mundane daily lives. Ah! You see what I mean? Do you see what I fucking mean? How, like, he's all pissy about, like somebody not wishing they were there. And now he's saying, like, well, they have no doubt mundane, stupid lives. Like, ugh, God, this is the most infuriating character that's ever been written down and made available to the public. Oh, let me psych myself up for a second. This is the end. This is the end. Should I make this playlist unlisted? I think I might. I'm still not gonna monetize it, but I think more people need to see. Because it's fucking great. And Greg's book is fucking crap. The security guards were much faster to intervene this time due to us being immediately by the metal detectors. Nearby the metal detectors? Okay, because that just sounds stupid. They rushed forward and escorted the three of us to the principal's office. Why? Okay. I identified the small, skinny, long-haired boy who threw the paint. Yeah, no shit. You looked at him. Like, it was Chris Jenkins, the class clown who mindlessly insulted the President of the United States during his visit to our school. Do you think we are stupid? Do you think we are stupid? Do you think we're stupid? That we can't remember what happened in your book? Oh, I'm so excited to eat. Out of the three of us, now being escorted, who's the three of you? You, Chris Jenkins, and who? Abby? Or the guy that threw the paint? Or the guy that you chopped in the neck? He was the only one security had to physically force to follow them to the office, but the guard seemed to drag his little body along with ease. So then that's not really forcing. Abby and I stood waiting. See, it's Abby. Abby and I stood waiting in Principal Lehman's office as I wiped the black paint off her neck and chest using paper towels Mr. Lehman's secretary gave us. Abby didn't seem too upset by what happened, but she was worried about the future. In a surprisingly strong voice, she said, "This is only the beginning of it. People aren't going to be able to accept me like you. They never did, and with what they have done now, they likely never will." I frowned slightly, wishing I could do something, but felt powerless. Why don't you fucking give her some more flowery, prosy bullshit language? She went on to say, "Rumors are like a poison. It doesn't matter what the truth is. What they want to believe, they will believe." That sounds exactly like something James would say. There's no distinguishing any of the dialogue between these fucking characters. They all sound like, the same monotone, spacey, out to lunch motherfucker that they are. When Ms. Robertson screamed what she did, she killed my future at this school. I wanted to argue, to give her some hope, but that would mean lying to her. The wounds from the shooting were too deep, and they wanted someone within their reach to blame. Greg, can you just try making sentences that are coherent and that make sense and that aren't just stupid ones that make Sadie's face upset? She doesn't care. I turned to see Principal Lehman through the glass window on his office door. He was flailing his arms at his secretary just outside, likely upset that he had just started his day and a significant incident had already occurred. That's a great principal, isn't it? And he then looked over at me, still wiping Abby off. He was so upset he was for a moment... What? He was so upset he was for a moment and at a loss of words. Okay. He just stood there staring at us through the door with his mouth completely open. As I turned back to Abby, I could hear him scream, "Oh my God, why?" He was walking towards us, looking at the ground. There was a trail of black paint leading to his office. Abby and I couldn't have avoided getting it all over the place due to the security guards ordering us to walk in. Why wouldn't they fucking clean her off first? This poor girl, Jesus Christ. Opening the door angrily, Lehman screamed, "Where is the idiot who did this?" Abby and I just looked outside the room towards Chris. Principal Lehman followed our line of sight to see the scrawny little kid shaking like a scared, lost animal in a chair just behind the reception desk. Why did this happen? Like, what kind of, like, appropriate response is that? Like, oh, I heard that you did something from somebody that I'm not supposed to be hearing about. Let me throw black fucking paint on you. Lehman didn't even care that Chris was already terrified by his domineering presence. "You little idiot. You're going to be cleaning the carpets until they look better than new. You got me?" Lehman yelled. With a horrified yelp, Chris screamed, "Yes, sir, I'm sorry." Lehman, now inches from Chris's face, mumbled something to Chris that no one else could hear. Whatever was said, Chris looked traumatized in response. Really? James, you couldn't hear what Lehman said to him? Because I thought you were able to denote and see what everybody is saying at any given time and what everybody's feeling. Principal Lehman stood fully upright, turned, and walked back to the room we were in, slamming the door behind him. "What the hell happened?" he screamed. I replied, "Recently, Miss Robertson gave everyone within hearing distance of her office the impression that Abby was partly responsible for the people who were shot last year." He replied, "She doesn't look like Seth to me." Wow, what a fucking asshole. I added, "Ms. Robertson was referring to notes Abby had written." He belted out, "I don't care about any of that." Whoa, look at that, neither do I. "The only thing I'm concerned with is the fact that the person who, under their own free will, shot up my school is behind bars." So, what is Principal Lehman, what's this interaction supposed to prove right now? Because he was first mad that the carpet's all upset. Now he's, screaming that, the shooter's in jail. What is happening? He continued, "Besides, if she had helped plot any of this, she would be behind bars too. The cops already talked to me about it and cleared her name." So what the fuck are we even doing here? We stood there silently, not having anything to say. Oh my god. He then asked, "Anything else? You were just attacked, or what?" Chris heard the principal through the door and screamed back, "He assaulted me." Oh, right. He chopped his neck. Oh, I forgot. I thought a completely different person chopped his neck. I'm sorry. Principal Lehman looked towards the door and then looked back at us. "Explain," he said. "Explain, period." Close quote. He said, not a capital H. I replied, after he threw the paint, Principal Lehman interrupted, "I've heard enough. Get out of here." Why does everybody let James off the hook so easily? Oops, sorry. That was just a full frontal of my crotch. Jesus. What, James has done nothing to, prove that he's trustworthy to staff. And yet, they all just, bend over backwards for this little fucking douchebag. Ooh, you're such a douchebag. I love my kitty. I've heard sorry. I begin to leave. I begin. I-B-E-G-I-N. You begin to leave. Idiot. As Abby began to speak to Lehman. Principal Lehman, I don't know if he cut her off saying, "I'll take care of everything, got it?" Abby nodded, hoping he knew what she was going to say. No, nobody knew what she was going to say, Greg. Even you don't know what she was going to say. This is rushed as shit. I feel like there's 10 pages left and he just wants it to end so he could press publish on fucking Amazon. As we walked out, I could see Chris glaring at us, only to hear a scream, "Get in here right now," from Principal Lehman. Oh. Chris flipped like a light switch from an angry glare to a wide-eyed terror. We approached Abby's class, worried that she would face more repercussions for what Miss Robertson had said in the hall. Just then a voice came over the intercom. It was Principal Lehman. It has come to my attention that a lot of you believe a student in our school outside Seth Wilson... Oh, Seth Wilson, that's the first time we've heard his last name. Was in part responsible... In hyphen part? There's no... What is that? He then began, it's a school shooting that took place last year. Yeah. I think the principal of the school would not have to remind everybody when the school shooting took place. Just a thought. He then began yelling. I don't know what my mouth just did. He then began yelling, "That is not at all relevant or true. And if I see any of you picking on any student, blaming them for the actions of the boy we all know is alone 100% responsible and is now in prison, I will not hesitate to suspend you, and for a lot of you, a suspension means repeating this semester." So now not only James is off the hook, like, the principal's going out of his way, to protect Abby. I burped. Oh my god! As he cleared his throat, Abby looked at me with relief. Again, whatever you have been told by any students or staff about anyone being even remotely responsible for the shooting outside Seth is a blatant lie and should be reported to me so I may deal with those dishonest individuals directly. This would never happen. This is like Big Brother saying, like, all is well. Like, don't worry. Stay out of the ministry of love. Like... Oh, I feel myself getting dumber by the second. Speaking of which, Miss Robertson, can you please report to my office? That is all. The microphone squelched off and the entire building went silent. Really? The entire fucking building went silent? All of it? Abby looked at me amazed that the principal had shown complete intolerance for what had or would happen to Abby as a result of Miss Robertson's unprofessionalism. Oh my god. Like, you can't say Abby looked at me and then say for what Abby would see in the same sentence. Are you a fucking idiot? Abby began to paint on your... Oh, sorry. Wow. Abby, about the paint on your... I began to say, but Abby interrupted. Oh, stop. I'll set a fashion trend or something, I'm sure. Abby hugged me and said, "See you at gym class, hubby." Thrown completely off, I breathlessly said, "Hubby." She laughed and walked in her class, closing the door behind her. Yeah, right, like, you'd be fucking, like, thrown off by her calling you hubby. Like, you're thrown off by words she says, except I thought you guys were on the same exact level all the time. He was thrown off when she said mom, when talking to his mom, and now he's thrown off saying hubby. Like, uh-oh. Ah! My pinky went, like, right down her throat. It was gross. Holy, so close. Oh, 95% done. 9 more pages, guys. 9 more. Oh my god, I can't. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I returned to my class, and Mr. Hanson was, to no surprise, sweating from his forehead while reciting more boring facts about Washington State. And what part of this fucking kid it makes a good TA? I sat down and immediately began trying to figure out from his body movements if he was worried about Mrs. Robertson. Like, if James had done a lot of research about, like, body language, maybe this would be justifiable. But it's just, he just enjoys doing it because it's something to do for him. I knew those two had a pretty close relationship as far as school staff goes, but I figured I'd find out after class about how he felt anyway. So I didn't look too far into it. Oh my god. Mr. Hanson had us all give reports on a specific part of Washington that we had visited in our lives that we liked. Ah, fuck you. Fuck your foot. Like, in high school, do you just do specific your state history? Is that something that happens? I don't remember that. I had nothing prepared, so... So I just went off the top of my head. Only a few words into telling the class about where I had been, and Mr. Hansen screamed, A+. I'm like Veruca Salt right now. I'm going to scream. Oh, did that scare you? I didn't mean for that to happen. The class laughed, and I finished telling my story with just a little boost of optimism thanks to his outburst. Fuck you. As I completed TA work for Mr. Hansen. I don't even do my own work! God. He brought up Mrs. Robertson just as I expected. Do you know what that whole business was with Ms. Robertson, he asked. I replied, it's really complicated. He then added, I hope they fire her. Why is a teacher so candid with their student? I was speechless. I thought he got along with her just fine. You just said that! He could see my disbelief, so he explained, Ms. Robertson is one of the most manipulative, judgmental, and possibly insane women, women, I've ever met. I'm only telling you this because I've never heard Principal Lehman that angry before, and I'm pretty sure that means she's getting canned. No, the only reason you're telling this is because Greg needs to justifiably make it so this character is facing retribution for fucking around with his girl. That's the only reason that Mr. fucking Hansen is telling you that. Mr. Hansen? I don't even remember his name. Mr. Hansen, yeah. Jesus. See, this is what I understand. Like he at one point said, like, you know, she's like the best outlet for psychology for us at the school. Right? I don't get it. I just want to understand. And you have crap in your eye. Oh. Ew. What's on your paw? It was all wet. It's gross. Okay. I replied, I don't know. Like I said, it's complicated. He asked, why are you so hesitant to speak your mind? I replied, because it's not about just Miss Robertson. There's a lot more to it. He then smiled and tilted his head back, stretching out his double chin to briefly become one chin. Ew. Oh, it's about your girlfriend, too. Oh, my God. He said. I smiled and replied, like I said. He jumped forward and interrupted. Get back to work, you! But said it with a smile, so I knew he was just trying to ease the tension. If he says something like, get back to work, you, with a smile on his face, it's because he's trying to ease the tension, shithead. Jesus. As gym class came around, Abby was all cleaned up and looking like her normal self. She was happy to see me, still giggling about calling me hubby earlier. I was so psyched to see her and feeling happy despite all that was going on. Mr. Mack came out and told us, the game of the day is basketball. And if you don't want to play that, you must sit on the sidelines and cheer every time someone scores a basket. Fuck, I would do that in a heartbeat. That sounds perfect. We all laughed, and I ran to join in on a game. Really? All of a sudden, now you're joining in on a game? When every other time you've been in gym class, you've been fucking half-assing it? Abby stood by the side with some other students and cheered for us, just like Mr. Mack asked. I think we were all just looking to have fun. Even Raymond was being a good sport. I knew if it were earlier that year, he would have fouled me and the other students, only to act like he was The victim, if anyone called him on it. How do you know that? I've never seen Raymond play the victim. I've seen you play the victim. And maybe Raymond. It could be interpreted that way. That one time that he hit him in the head. I don't remember the exact incident. See, that's not good. I read this book. I'm reading this book cover to cover, and I don't remember, like, stupid little incidents like that. Oh, everything we all went through just seemed to bring us closer together. It was like a wall casting a massive shadow, but any of us could look at the tiny glint of light shining through the cracks. So now you fucking like everybody? I'd never heard Abby cheer like this before, so seeing her light up every time I scored a basket, of course he's fucking good at basketball, gave me a familiar goofy grin and only motivated me to do better. As I played, I kept thinking about how everything could have gone to hell had I given in earlier on. Given into what? But I was reminded that it wasn't only Abby and I who found ourselves laughing our way through everything, but most of the students in our school. It was as if all the tears shed in our school cleansed us of our differences, bonding us in a way most other schools would never know. This is not accurate. Why is this happening? Why is he talking about bonding with these people now? I thought he hated them all. Ugh. Ugh. God. We only met like 2 of them too. So how do we know that they're all fucking bonding? Abby and I met at the bus and rode home quietly in our usual seat towards the back. She rested in my arms as if she didn't have a single worry, and in that moment I found peace as well. As Abby closed her eyes, I stared off towards Davis's old seat. I imagined him cracking jokes and laughing. He could almost always offer endless entertainment. Excuse me. Just then I felt Abby's hand touch my face. "James," she said in a gentle tone. "Are you okay?" I just realized she had her hand on me to wipe a tear away. I didn't even know it had fallen. "I'm fine," I said. I looked at her, squeezed her gently, and smiled. "I'm fine." Maybe if that was like the long conclusion, like the end of the book. But there's still another chapter, folks. Oh, so it's like he's fine. Like he's finally fine. But we didn't see him get to here. It was just like a sharp fucking drop. Or like a sharp uptick that came from really nowhere, because like 2 chapters ago he was beating the shit out of people and skating towards them. So like this book has not decided what it wants to be or what message it wants to get across. Oh, it's almost 1. All right, 97% of the way done. 5 more pages, 1 more chapter. Quite a few days had passed since Abby was doused with black paint. We woke in each other's arms to the sound of my alarm clock. I wondered why I kept it all this time. It was such a random piece of crap. Greg, you're a random piece of crap! Sometimes it would go off in the middle of the day. Other times it would go off at the right time. Abby and I would always laugh because it had a delightfully annoying chirp to it. Not so annoying you passionately hate it, but just enough to make you want to shut it off as soon as humanly possible. Why the fucking paragraph about your alarm clock? We normally woke up based on our eternal clocks, which worked because we rarely went to bed at an excessively late hour. Oh, you little old married couple, you. Fortunately today, my little piece of junk alarm clock gave us some extra time before the bus arrived. Seeing we didn't have to leave right away, Abby kissed me good morning and told me she was going to make some eggs. While she cooked, I cleaned up our room. For some reason, her talent for finding the strangest places to discard her clothes made me laugh inexplicably. Ugh! Oh, that sentence made me, want to vomit. Her now dried shirt, covered in paint, was crumpled on the floor. Well, that's lovely. Just looking at it gave me the strange inclination to fold it into a square and pin it to the wall using thumbtacks. When I was done, Abby walked in with the 2 plates in her hands and saw the shirt on display. She said, "Well, that looks kind of cool." I replied, "I feel like at this point most bad things that happen won't really hurt us unless we let them." James, why does everything you fucking say sound like it came out of a motivational book, like a word a day calendar bullshit? Ugh. I'm so almost done. Oh my god. She set down the plates and hugged me. I said, "Your turn. You turn bad things into beauty, Abby." I pointed at the shirt. "It's like the moment that paint hit you, it became perfect." What the fuck? She replied sarcastically, reaching her arms out. "You've gone too deep, James. Where'd you go?" I bet Greg has never heard that in his life. Deep. Oh, God, I'm an asshole. I laughed hysterically, hugging her as she laughed as well. "Ha ha 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 ha. Thank you, James," she said. I kissed her on the forehead and softly continued laughing. Oh my god, I hate you. Is this supposed to be, deep? It's supposed to be well-written because it's so fucking not. We waited that morning at the bus stop for about 40 minutes before we gave up and returned to our room. You would think after, 15 minutes of the bus not being there, something's wrong. Abby tried calling into school, but no one answered, so we turned on the TV, hoping to see if the local news said anything. Oh, right, because they're fucking hipster douchebags and they don't have the internet. Kind of ironic that they don't have internet or phones, considering how much time Greg spends online. Before we could even flip to the news station, we quickly found most every local station was showing the same thing. Local news station? But local station? What the hell? At first we thought it was just a random fire when Abby raised her hand to her face in shock and said, "James, that's our school." Cool. Alright. I looked at her in shock. You just said shock. And then back at the TV to read the scrolling news feed at the bottom of the screen. It's called a ticker, asshole. Ugh. It read, "Unknown arsonist suspected of starting fire that claimed most of Lakewood High." That's not how news people write. Abby and I were now both sitting, staring at the TV. The feed cut to a ground reporter who had approached a very upset Principal Lehman. As the reporter asked him questions, he kept apologizing to them, following it by, "I can't comment at this time." Okay, the principal of the school that just burned down, more than one reporter is going to be talking to them. Not just one. Or at least trying to talk to them. He ended the conversation saying he had to deal with the situation and spun around looking at the school in disbelief. Likely having no idea what his role was, or how to even proceed forward after witnessing his job literally going down in flames right before his eyes. Holy crap. I gotta count how many words that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Wow, it's not the longest, but it's still 49 words. That's way too long for a sentence. Abby and I spent the days after. The days after? So, you don't want to know, we need to know more about this fucking fire that burned down your entire school that was just fucking newly renovated after a school shooting? And now we're just talking about the days after? Oh, God. Abby and I spent the days after keeping each other busy at home, all the while expecting a call from a member of the school administration to explain what had happened. How does the school not contact somebody right away after a fucking fire at the school? We watch the news every day to learn updates on the story. It didn't take the fire department long to figure out how the fire had started. No, because they're competent at their jobs. You are not, Greg. They confirmed it was, in fact, a result of arson. Yeah. Because that's how it was reported, as arson. They can't say it unless there's at least a suspicion or it's been confirmed. After talking to the staff in depth, the police were pointed towards the recently fired Mrs. Robertson. So just talk. Okay, number one, what the fuck? That was out of nowhere. Number two, you just talk to somebody and arrest them instead of getting actual evidence against Ms. Robertson. Sadie. Aw. She's all snuggly right against me. We're butt to butt right now. Butt. Just as we learned about her being suspected, our phone rang. I answered, and the voice on the other end was someone representing the school district. Why didn't they call the moment it fucking happened? God. They confirmed my name and that I attended Lakewood High, following their confirmation with a briefing. As you are well aware by now, the school suffered a major fire and is irreparable at this point. All of your class information and grades were stored in an online database, so none of your information has been lost. Regardless, to make things easier... Greg says regardless so much. I do too, but it's weird because Greg says it more. Garg. To make things easier for students, we have decided to credit everyone as if they had already finished up the year. I suppose they would do that. I asked for clarification. Oh my god. Really? And they confirmed that we would be attending an entirely new school the next year. To my relief, they also said we would be proceeding to the senior class with our credits intact. I thanked them and disconnected. By the way, are you the only minor at home? You and another minor are living there by yourselves? I would probably call CPS, as I am a government official. They shouldn't be allowing this. Abby and I were both happy to know the only thing the fire harmed was the physical school itself. Okay. In reality, not even a janitor was harmed, as by the time the fire had started, he had finished his work and gone home for the night. The administration really stepped up and made sure none of the teachers suffered financially, and the students didn't lose any time. So this fire was a good thing! Days later, from when? Abby and I decided to visit the site of our burned-down school. The front was completely cordoned off, so we approached Lakewood High from the back. As we got closer, we could see the gymnasium building remained completely intact, due to it being detached from the rest of the school. Like, just say, like, the gym didn't burn down. Aren't, at this point in the book, don't we know that the gym is, like, not attached to the school? We should know that. But we don't, because Greg's a fucking idiot and doesn't realize how to write. As a result, amazingly enough, the jocks were still allowed to use the facility itself. And the unscathed field nearby for practice. Practice for what? You guys don't have a fucking school anymore. Although I imagine they were doing it just to stay in shape for next year. Okay. Judge. I'm such a judgy McJudgerson. I don't care. The back area was pretty open, so we were able to walk right up to a point only a few yards away from the fire-damaged area. Fire damaged, I believe, has a hyphen. As we looked on, someone came up behind us saying, "Hey, chump." I turned to see it was Jason in his sports gear. He had seen us walking in from the field. His sports gear. He was actively practicing football in. Oh my god! Actively practicing? Like, yeah. If you're practicing a sport, you're being active in it. Did you see the news? He asked. Look around, you fucking idiot. Of course. Oh my god. I replied, last I heard they were looking for the arsonist. He laughed and said, nope, they found her. Abby and I looked at each other and then back at him, waiting for him to tell us who it was. Jason threw his arms out and screamed, it was crazy Miss Robertson, dude. She's all locked up now. Hey, what happened to the art teacher? She just, we just stopped hearing about her since the school shooting, huh? Cool. There's a nice loose end for you. Abby and I didn't know how to react. You're sure? Last I heard, it was speculation. Oh my god, what are you, in the fucking 50s? Are you sure? Last wire that came across Reuters. That's what I heard. That pigeon that Mr. Reuters sent out. Ain't you a pocket full of firecrackers? Ugh. I asked, and he responded, yeah, she didn't have to admit it, but she still did. She said the school was like rotten to the core and talked about how the renovations were just a lie covering up a bigger lie or something like that. Oh, good. I'm glad that we have a nice explanation as to why the teacher fucking burned down the school. Something like that, I guess. God damn it. I could still part my hair to the side. No, I can't. It looks stupid. So this is better. Okay, that probably fucked my neck up. There was a silence as the information soaked in, but Abby broke right through it by busting out laughing, throwing her hands to her knees, hunching forward beside me. Jesus Christ. I smiled and Jason gave her a slightly bewildered look. Abby's laugh was rich with satisfaction. It was an obvious victory. Oh, fuck you and your fucking victory. For her, after all the grief Mrs. Robertson consistently gave her. Anyway, so see you at the new school, huh? Jason asked. I replied, yeah, I guess. Jason then turned and ran back to the field. Abby's laughter was trailing off now, as she returned fully upright. You okay, Abby? I asked. She replied with a smile, yup, hubby. I'm just fine. Notice how he never calls her wifey, but he gets a kick out of being called hubby. She and I turned around to continue looking at the burnt school. Suddenly I realized something. A small smirk crossed my lips. Well, I guess this means I won't be running for president. And it just ends. Before I go, review this book on Amazon. Go ahead and... Customers who bought this book also bought I Hate My Selfie by Shane Dawson. No fucking thank you. Let's do that a little... I'm not going to review... Oh, I can't review it because it's going to post my full name. And I can't have that done. Well, that book was fucking awful. That was a stinker. I'm going to go ahead and remove from device. Excuse me. Remove from device. How do I want it gone though. I want it not here anymore. I can still see it! Oh yeah, I have the Game of Thrones I'm reading. I have The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero, the guy who was in The Room. This amazing book, Zeus Grants Stupid Wishes. It's fucking hysterical. I bought The Diary of Anne Frank again. I don't know why. 1984. I don't know why. Brave New World. I don't know why. Hunger Games trilogy. That was good. This book, it doesn't suck. It's a analytical story or an analysis of Showgirls, the movie. And then the Newsroom Confessions, which is by my good friend Bob. He's fucking hysterical. But Bob is awesome and got a publisher. Greg sucks and didn't get one. I want this gone. I don't like... I want it not on my device anymore. Oh, maybe... if I sync it. Ooh, if I sync it. Anyway. It's unfortunate that, I couldn't, put this up for everybody to see. How he actually, the syntax alone, sorry, Sadie, freaked her out. The syntax alone in this book was embarrassing, and any writer worth his salt would never allow a book to be published with how he wrote it. There were incorrect comma placements, there were incorrect quote placements. There was far too many modifiers, far too many adjectives, far too many adverbs. There was no character development whatsoever. No, you didn't even know what any of the characters looked like. There was no description other than Mr. Hanson is bald and fat, and the other lady, Miss fucking, I don't even remember her name. The art teacher. That's how long it's been since we talked about the art teacher. That she was old. We don't even know what James looks like. We don't know what Abby looks like. Other than she's beautiful, according to James. Trash. Really, really bad book. The worst book probably that I ever read. At least Twilight had correct syntax. At least 50 Shades of Grey had correct syntax. There was also no, the dialogue in this book, nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like that. It was a horrendous thing, and I've been doing this for over an hour and a half. Plus, let's not forget how many other fucking hours of video I was sitting here reading. Oh, look at this poor... Oh. I'm sorry, I just want to touch your foot. I just like your feet. I just like kitty feet. I just like kitty feet. So... That's the end of Stones to Abbigale. That's no more reading. If Greg writes another book, I will fucking read it. But I'll make fun of it on the way. That's just what I gotta do. So, that's the end. Thank you for this. Thank you for being with me on this journey. And I have to go replenish some brain cells. Good night, bitches.